Super. Hi, everybody. Thanks for jumping on to this fabulous live with Kylie and Amber from Mantrailing New Zealand. It's currently 8 a.m. in not so sunny UK. It's 7 p.m. with you guys over in New Zealand, which is awesome. We're going to have a little introduction of us guys, so you know who you're chatting to and kind of our experience. And then I'm going to probably end up talking far too long about what is mantrailing and bore the crap out of everybody. But it's my passion. It's my little rabbit hole of knowledge. And we've got a Q&A section talking about any questions that you guys want to bring forwards, or some questions that we've already been submitted about mantrailing, because over here in the UK, there's a lot of mantrailing. It's quite a saturated market. There's a lot of instructors. We have lots of different information, whereas I believe over in New Zealand, there's like 2 or 3 of you guys doing it. So it's quite new, quite exciting and awesome. Super. So what is mantrailing? First thing first, I'll introduce myself. I'm Kathryn Jones. I've been in the dog world now for just over a decade. I've worked with thousands of handlers as a professional, as somebody who collects dogs because she has no filter to say no to rescue dogs. And I am 100% mantrailing addict and geek. I am the woman who needs to know everything about mantrailing. I'm a former head instructor for Mantrailing Global. I'm a former instructor for the NTI PDU, which is an instructorship for security dog handlers and detection dog handlers in the UK. A level 2 sit and print for dogs, which is an internationally recognised tracking and trailing organisation. I'm just going through my instructorship with Global K9 with Ilkka Miller, who's a great chap from Finland, a canine behaviourist specialising in bite history dogs. I'm a dog hoarder. I've just gained another rescue dog. I'm a mum, and occasionally I'm a wife to a poor suffering man who has to put up with all of this chaos. So I'm pretty down to earth. There is no airs and graces with me. So what you see is what you get. She's just mad about dogs. That in that picture is my Malinois cross Labrador. She is the bane of my current life because she doesn't know whether she's a Labrador or a Malinois. So she's making me a very good dog trainer. When you think you know it all, a dog comes along and smacks you in the face. And she is my smack in the face dog. Super. Amber, I'm going to get you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Amber. I have been working with dogs professionally for 15 plus years. First off as a dog walker boarding in London for about 11, 12 years. And working with lots of different trainers over there, assisting in their businesses and puppy classes and all sorts. And one of those trainers introduced me to mantrailing. And then just before coming back here 4 years ago, I was up and did the Mantrailing instructor course with Kathryn. So yeah, done. And then Kylie tracked me down about a year ago, and we gave me a boot up backside to get mantrailing started over here. Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
Super. When my thing works, there you are. Kylie, can you introduce yourself?
I'm Kylie, and I don't have, the only dog experience I have is with my own dogs and friends' dogs. I got into dog sports and scent sport and loved it. And then I heard about mantrailing and I thought, well, that's a bit of me and my boys. And so, as Amber said, I tracked her down. I'd actually known Amber I'd met Amber a few years previous and I didn't realise she did mantrailing. But after asking everybody in New Zealand, do they know anybody? Everybody said no, and then a mutual friend said, oh, Amber does it. And so I got hold of Amber, and that was a year ago, and just can't get enough of it. And I'm mentoring under Amber to become an instructor, and hopefully by the end of this year that will be one of my dreams come true. That's about it.
Amazing. I love it. So Kylie is a mantrailing pusher. She will push you into mantrailing with it, like, not. So I think some of you guys here are already doing mantrailing. Some of you guys might not know what mantrailing is, or people in recording might be going, what is mantrailing? Like, it's brand new to New Zealand. And I think people always think like mantrailing, it's something to do with men, dating apps. It doesn't really tell you it's about dog training off the bat. I think a lot of people think it's like Canny Cross, where everyone's running around with the dogs, which it isn't. So what is mantrailing? This is my lovely Dutch herder, Josie. It's teaching dogs to find a specific person who is hidden or missing by matching their scent left on a trail. So it's basically hide and seek for adults and dogs. But we don't do the bitey bit like the police would do. So the police were like, find the bad guy, bite them at the end, job's a good one. We don't do the bitey bit. We feed them some cheese, have a game of play, have a big party, have some fun, whatever that dog wants as the reward. And we have fun together as a team. We're not necessarily doing it to find missing people. I know myself, I only teach sports dogs. Obviously, you guys teach sports dogs. Operational training is different to what we do, and we're not going to be touching on anything to do with that. But what we do is very similar. So we're teaching dogs to find a specific person. We're not just saying find anybody in a bush. That ends in tears really quickly when we start to find people we don't want to find in bushes, or disrupting people's picnics. And the dog's like, hey, there's a person. They have cheese. They must be my person. And that all goes to pot real quick. So they're matching from something someone's touched. And that can be something they've worn. That can be something as small as a pen. It can be where they've sat on the floor. My dog did that once. Yeah, disrupted picnic, did it, Rachel? We've all been there. We've all ruined someone's day while mantrailing by accident. But yeah, they take scent off anything that person's touched, and what they're doing is matching the bacteria that person has left behind on that object. So when we touch something, whether you like it or not, we pass around bacteria, and bacteria produces gases. And what the science currently says is that the gases from that bacteria multiplying and expanding, or that bacteria dying off, is what those dogs are finding. And everybody has a unique set of bacteria, much like a fingerprint. Even like twins have different bacteria, because the bacteria in your gut, the bacteria in your skin is unique. The percentage of it is unique. Now that bacteria can change, whether like you have lots of antibiotics that can change stuff, or you're ill, or your pheromones are different. But generally, as a rule, that's what we think they're finding. There are other environmental factors like washing powder, hormones, pheromones, but basic thing is it's bacteria to some degree that they're following. The dogs are always worked on lead with mantrailing, with the methods that I use and that Kylie and Amber use. What we want is the dogs to work as a team. There are other methods that the dogs might be off lead, but for me personally and the people I work with and I teach, I want the dogs to be working with you as a team, not somewhere in the bush, potentially having injured themselves or taken somebody out by accident. Some of these dogs are mad keen, and I have seen dogs off lead completely trounce a trail layer with much love, but not ideal. And we want to work as a team. This is a team sport. It's something we do together. And like much like if you're doing agility or like working trials or IPG or something like that, it's about you and the dog learning. It's not just about a dog running around like a headless chicken. But yeah, they're always matching to the right person. So we're training them to follow that odor trail left by where that person's walked. And then we can have really good fun with it. It's not, we just have to do the same thing. It's really good fun. Pressing the wrong buttons here. There we go. Why is mantrailing different to other dog sports? For me, it's a dog-led sport. So when we do other sports, when we do working trials or agility or fly ball, or even scent work, our goal is to teach the dog to do this specific thing in a very specific way. So your dog, maybe not so much scent work, but like agility and stuff, like you need to jump this jump and then this jump, this just jump. And there's a lot of like, you need to do this and you need to do it this specific way. And if you don't do that specific way, we're failing. And there can be a lot of pressure between the dog and handlers. Whereas with mantrailing, yes, we want them to work in, we don't want to just run around like a headless chicken and try and kill you in the bushes. Some of them would like to do that. My spaniel just wants to be free and not on a lead and work with me. But it's about the dog leading the way. So it's a dog taking charge of the situation. It's the dog going, hey, I'm going to follow this trail. Are you coming with me? Let's go together. Not, I don't know what to do. Can you tell me what to do? If the dog needs help, we will step in and help. But really, we want to build that confidence in the dog, that real need to want to problem solve by themselves. And what we get is this beautiful relationship bloom between the dog and handler, where the dog is going, hey, if I follow this trail and we find this person, you come with me rather than you talk at me. And I think a lot of relationships with dogs is just us going all the time. A dog going, I just want to sniff the bush, go away. I just go away. And I can see a lot of relationship conflict with a lot of people with how they train their dog. It's not a bad, the dog still needs to understand what is appropriate and inappropriate. I'm not going to go on the like, oh, just leave your dog be free, because that's a problem. But sometimes, just like us, you just want to do your own shit for a little bit. And this taps into their natural ability to scent. If your dog can find a bunny or get into the treat cupboard, or get in your bin, or find something it shouldn't be eating on a walk, it can mantrail. Because they can use their nose. The dog's nose is the first sense that develops. When puppies are born, they have a sense of smell and they have a sense of hot, cold. They can't see, they can't hear. So their nose is like their primary organ, whereas for us, like visual is our primary organ. I think closely followed by touch, and then smells kind of like down. I think taste is even more than smell in humans because we don't prioritize it. Because actually, we bred dogs and domesticated them to do it for us. That's why, most dogs were domesticated as hunting partners, and then like branched off into maybe guardians or companions or sports dogs. So there's different things. One of the great things about mantrailing is you can't force a dog to go mantrailing. So if your dog doesn't like it, and some dogs do think it's stupid, they don't understand why every Thursday night Sally gets in the bush and gets lost, or they don't have natural personality to lead these things. So some breeds are like that, or some individuals. You can't force them. You can walk them to the end and get them to some cheese, but you can't really force them to work. Most dogs want to do it. 99% of dogs I work with absolutely love mantrailing, but there is 1% that goes, look, it's raining, they've gone, I don't actually give a flying shit. I'd like to go back in the car and I would just eat the cheese and go home, okay? And and that's fine. I'm not going to force it. I'm going to be really breedist. It's usually a whippet. It's usually a whippet or a greyhound that goes, it's raining, guys. Have you seen? I don't do things in the rain. But that's fine. And it's all about, it's dog-led in the way that we look at their reward as well. So if a dog likes to play, we use play. If a dog likes food, we use food. If a dog likes social interaction, we use social interaction. If a dog likes to chase bubbles, I've done bubbles like kids little, like, oh, you get dog like bacon flavored ones over here that you blow the bubbles. The dog's like, oh my God. I had one dog whose reward was toilet roll tubes with cheese in, and she ripped the tubes up at the end and got the cheese. She liked to destroy things, so we made something that she could destroy in the mantrailing because she didn't actually like people very much. There's one of the things about mantrailing: if your dog doesn't like people, it's not about the person; it's about following the trail. So it's the hunting, it's the going through the emotional fun of finding somebody, but they don't have to then interact with that person because you as the handler can reward them, the instructor can reward them, or the trail layer can just put the food on the floor and dog can go, hey, thanks for that odor sauce. You're just a treat dispenser to me. I come, I sit, you feed. Jobs are good. So we can really develop it in a way that works for the dogs because there's no one size fits all in the way that we should be working mantrailing. It's about what the dog needs in front of us, which I think gets forgotten in some other sports. We do train the dogs to work in a certain way. We want the dogs to find people. So we want them to follow the ground scent primarily with a mixture of blown scent and a bit of air scent because we don't know exactly what the bacteria is doing. The science hasn't caught up yet in teaching us, but we know that they can follow it. So sometimes it's kind of where people have walked. Sometimes it might have moved to the left or right depending on the wind. If it's a hot day, it might have lifted. In New Zealand, you've got a completely different temperature world to over here. So I probably find that your trails are quite lifted and move around a little bit more than maybe they would here in wet and cold England.
I've got a lot of wind in Wellington, so
yeah. So you'll probably find. I've been working with Kylie and Amber, working with them, and they've been showing me videos of your dogs working, and you can see a lot of the dogs will kind of use a bit of maths as well as trailing. So they'll be like, oh, there's a trail here and it's the high concentration against this building, and they'll work along this building where the scent's settled, and then they'll pop out in this open area and they're like, hold on a minute, oh, the blown scent's not helping me now, where that bacteria settled isn't right, and they'll put the nose on the ground and they'll do a little bit of problem solving. So they're using lots of different types. It's colder down South Island. I'm not coming to get final fuse. I want to go to the warm. So you'll get these changes in how the dogs work because scent isn't linear, and neither is dog training really. But they use a mixture. So we don't want just ground scent, like maybe a tracking dog, we would ask for them to use primarily ground scent, and an area search air scenting dog would use primarily air scent. We want the dogs to use what's in front of them and what's most efficient to get to the end. So we might interrupt them if they're going miles and miles and bits of blown scent. We're going to teach them to use that high concentration of scent, you follow the high concentration, whether it's on the ground, whether it's in the air, whether it's settled against the building. And our job as handlers and instructors is to interpret that. So we're interpreting our dog's behavior. And it's one of the reasons I love it, because you're getting this repertoire and understanding how these dogs work. And you're learning your dog's body language. And what I find is that because you're spending, 10 minutes at a time actively looking at your dog's behavior when you're mantrailing, you suddenly become an expert in them. And at home, you start to see like, oh, you're doing something and you respond differently. And this communication opens up between you and your dog where you can see the like, I'm thinking behavior, or that I'm lost and I need help behavior. And then you see it at home too, when you're like, oh, what are you trying to do over there? You're thinking about something. Oh, it's getting in the cupboard. Okay. And then you might interrupt that behavior, or, not put them in the cupboard. But you start to respond differently to the dogs. And it builds another level of relationship. I know that I spent many years doing detection dogs and security dogs, and the detection dogs is great because you're watching their behavior, you're learning about them. The GP dogs, the security dogs over here, like they're always next to me and I'm expecting them to do stuff. I'm not only watching them, I'm expecting. So it's a very flip side. Whereas now I spend a lot more time watching my dogs interact and watching what they're thinking and trying to get them to have the best day they can. And we'd like the success to be calm, not chaotic in mantrailing. I know there's videos out there of dogs running around like headless chickens and people, and there's lots of ways to teach things, but the way that I teach stuff and the way that kind of Amber teach stuff, it's about you and your dog. It's not about let's run and find the person. Let's get all this fucking madness, chaotic adrenaline, because dogs and us can't think very well when our adrenaline's high. If you're really stressed, like Kylie and Amber right now, then your thinking's a bit poor. If you're really calm, your thinking's really good. And we want that calm state along with nice success and lots of fun. I keep pressing the wrong button here, hoping it's going to work. It taps in the dopamine. So we do want to build in dopamine. So dopamine in humans and dogs is the habit forming hormone, and it's what makes a success. It's the reason why if you ever went gambling, you keep pressing the button, even though you're losing money, you're like, oh, this time I might win. It's the reason you go back to the cupboard 15 times, hoping that the biscuits have appeared, or you open the fridge 15 times. It's the reason your dog found KFC once on the ground, he found chicken, and every day for the rest of their damn life, they check that spot for chicken. It's that dopamine, because one time there was a reward. So in mantrailing, we tap into that dopamine and we say, hey, we're going to tell you there's a reward 99% of the time. Mantrailing is a very high success rate with reward. So the dogs keep doing it because they want that dopamine high. And it's why they pick it up really quickly. Like they get it like that, mantrailing. People are like, oh my God, I thought my dog was thick. Because the dopamine's super high. So the dog goes, hey, if I use my nose and I find this person, I get cheese. I really like cheese, or pate, or playing with a toy, or running around with the trail layer, or running around with my handler. I love this. It makes my dopamine high. Job's a good one. So like my Malay Labrador, the biggest thing for her is she likes a bit of food, and then all she wants is my attention, my undivided attention, because she has one-to-one time with me because I've got a pack of dogs, and she really wants to be an only dog in her head. But no one will take her, surprisingly. So she likes that. On the walk back, it's just me and her. I ignore everybody else. I don't want to hear any feedback. Tell me the car. It's just me and Kincaid, and we're fussing, we're playing, and that's her dopamine. That is the biggest reward in the world for her, is just me and her against the world, and she freaking loves it. And you can see a little brain go, whoo. Yeah, Cat, I find memory location reward amazing. My spaniel's like, oh, I had a reward there once, I'll check it again. Yes, so Cat's spaniel Foggy is a little bugger for memory. So one of the problems we do get in mantrailing is that dogs are very smart and they remember where things are. So you have to be very good at, as an instructor, not picking up habits of where to hide people. So that it can be that you've got to think about where people are. But Foggy is a little monster for it. And Foggy loves people. So if anybody has ever spoken to him in any location, that's it. We've got to check that alley again. There might be somebody really exciting down that alley. No, there's just somebody minding their own business, Foggy. Leave them alone. Yeah, and the dogs have dopamine and problem solve. So life is full of little stresses, like whether you like it or not. We can't avoid stress. It's normal. Learning is normal. Oh no, now you've got to tell us.
If it's not expensive, he doesn't want it.
Oh yeah. There's some of these dogs are connoisseurs, and they're like, it's not safe.
Yeah.
It's
not ostrich.
got to be the most cheap, and it's got to be the most expensive mince out for Mr. Spencer.
Bougie mince. He says, I work really hard. You better pay me well. If it's not caviar, I do have a dog that only trails for caviar.
Oh, God.
It's a cheaper caviar, but I was like, it's still caviar. I was like, why did you start this? Why did you try caviar? You've started this.
It is not my diet.
Yeah. But no, sorry, I was going somewhere. Yeah, so stress. So stress is normal. But when you solve a problem, so when you do something out of your comfort zone, it goes great. Your body releases dopamine. When you jump out of a plane and skydive, and your body goes, don't do this. This is really like maladaptive to throw ourselves out of a plane. But afterwards, it goes dopamine, because your body will try and balance out stress hormones. So when cortisol comes up from stressing about life. So we presented the dogs with a challenge. They don't understand what it is yet because they're new to mantrailing. They solve the challenge at the end. The dopamine goes, oh my God, we were a little bit stressed. Go! And it tries to counteract it. So you get these real peaks of dopamine, slightly higher stress, slightly higher dopamine. So what we do is we want to keep these like a little bit of stress, a little bit of learning with these nice levels of dopamine. So the dogs want to keep coming back. I don't like extremes of either way because that creates behavior issues. These little stress things are why dogs create behavior issues at home. So I'm behavior specializing in bite history dogs. And a lot of these dogs bite because they're having lots of constant stress. They're building lots of constant dopamine, and OCD behaviors appear. Collies chasing, dogs chasing their tails, dogs guarding, going through routines in the garden. And it's based on dopamine and cortisol interaction. So we want dopamine release, and we want to have a little bit of stress learning, but we want good fun at the end. And it's the same as us. We love it. So I find the handlers get into mantrailing much quicker than the dogs, because the handlers are like, my dog finds somebody out there, amazing. The dog's like, oh, found some cheese on this person. It's amazing. You know, you get as much dopamine because it's a little bit stressful putting your dog in charge a little bit, and it's a little bit stressful kind of having an audience as well, because mantrailing is a group activity. Like, we need people to hide, so you can't really do it on your own. So immediately you're in a social setting where you're like, oh, there's people here that dogs have really experienced and mine isn't. Doesn't matter. There's no like, my dog's done 6 sessions, so therefore it's better than a dog that's done 1 session. Every dog is on their own linear plan with mantrailing, and it's really cool because you can see dogs fluctuate and change as they work. And it's really nice for us as instructors to see that and have fun, because we get the opportunity to work with them and overcome little hurdles and like have their own little personal journeys. There's no comparison. I have, multiple dogs at Mantrail of my own, and they're all on their own personal journeys. I have multiple clients I've worked with the same breed for the couple of years, and the dog's completely different because it's about the individual dog. You can't put 3 dogs for the same course for 6 weeks and get the same results. You won't. You can put 15 dogs for the same course and you wouldn't get the same results on each dog, because it's so dog led, which is awesome. It's low impact on the body mantrailing if the dog makes it low impact. I have Springer Spaniels, and if anybody has been anywhere near a Springer Spaniel, they have 2 modes, on or gone. And my Spaniels would like to be gone in the wilderness half the time. I've got Malinois, Dutch herders. I've got all high drive dogs, apart from my rescue bulldog that is backwards. He's gone. Like, he looks at them and goes, you make me tired looking at you. And they want to be working, they want to be doing, and they would like to do this at high impact. So as much as I can, I've tried to avoid that high impact. I made a lot of mistakes with my first Springer Spaniel. I allowed it to be high impact. I let him run around head as chicken. I let him impact himself on the lead and do all the things that I would never allow my clients to do now, because I was learning, and ultimately I damaged him from it. So I will never allow that to happen to somebody else. I lost him a couple of weeks ago very suddenly, and he was on off crate rest for 3 years because of the impact of my stupidity as a very, very new instructor, and listening to people that I thought were setting him up for success. And yeah, he was a damn good mantrailer. Like, he was extremely good, but he did everything at high speed, and ultimately he buggered his body with it. So one of the things that I see instructors do now, they're very much more conscious about it because other people have made the mistakes, and it's about working the dog at the level it's at. We can do things to slow them down. We can set up trails to make them work harder, not run. We can handle them in different ways to help them steady. And I spend a lot of time when I'm hosting for workshops or when I'm working with instructors in teaching them techniques to help the dog work this much more methodically, as opposed to running around, because we don't want to work in high intensity all the time. We want to work in calm. But yeah, it isn't generally high impact for the dogs unless your dog makes it high impact. And then we as instructors have loads of tools in the toolbox in order to help that. But yeah, occasionally some dogs mantrailing doesn't suit because they can't let go of the adrenaline. If they're very hunty and they're genetically like, I need to hunt, you'll find that some of those dogs, it's like a lot of the gun dog breeds, will not want to give up the chaos. So we have to teach them to do something else, like maybe pulling in a lot of tracking into their foundations or doing scent work to complement, because they all complement each other, how that dog works, and teach them to work calmer. Because at the end of a 10-meter lead man trailing, that dog can get some weight behind it, and you do tend to just shift. But we can do things like double line, we can hold the line, we can just set up trails for success. And your instructor always has your best interest at heart, and they will help you with that. But it's generally low impact on the body. It's super high impact on the brain. Because if you think about your dog's normal life, they don't do an awful lot of problem solving, because we tend to offer them everything on a bit of a silver platter. They get fed regardless of whether they've done some problem solving. They go for lots of running, lots of walks, but they don't do a lot of thinking on those walks. They're just running around having a good time. Like, they're not going, oh, I'm going to problem solve this and work out how I can do that. They're going, what are we doing next? I can sit, I can run, I can do this. They're just going through the things that they know, and they have a good time. Mantrailing is about that problem solving, and you will find that after a couple of mantrailing sessions, they are absolutely wankered afterwards. It's wonderful. You don't see them till the next day. They're so tired from using their brain, and you are as handler, because you're using your brain. It's great. Mantrailing is designed to tap into that prey drive and channel that hunting need into something constructive. It is designed to take that hunt, prey, kill, devour, the predatory sequence, that was the word I was looking for, and use parts of it in order to build success. All dogs know how to hunt, because that's how they survive, unless your name's Winston, my bulldog, and he would die immediately if humans all died tomorrow, because no one would open his tins of dog food for him. Whereas my shepherds would be like, right, this is a job, let's go. Spaniels have got all the pheasants, and they would be fine. So they know how to hunt naturally, because they know how to use their nose. So with mantrailing, we're not teaching to do anything that dog doesn't understand. We're teaching them to do something they understand in a way that has fun for us and them. So we're putting it constructively. We've all had dogs feck off after a bird. And you guys in New Zealand, you've got completely different bird populations over here. Like, have you got a lot more like ground birds? Yeah. So you've all probably got a situation where you've gone, oh, brilliant, there goes a dog after something you shouldn't be doing, and I've got no control of the situation right now because it's off lead, or the lead's got out of my hand or something. What we do with mantrailing is we tap into that the dog's going to do it anyway, but let's do it constructively over here. Thank you, guys. Find the person in the bush, not the bird in the bush. Job's a good one. Who can do mantrailing? All dogs. Most breeds can do it. Some breeds are better than others. Yes, whippets and greyhounds too tend to look at you like you're an idiot, but they do it. They just do it slower than like a boxer would do it, or like a collie or a Labrador. This is baby Kincaid, a Mallee Labrador. She looks like a really ugly German Shepherd, doesn't she? Puppies can start for 10 weeks. So I started Kincaid from really tiny, with little tiny baby trails, to give her something to do in her brain that was low impact on her joints, but high impact on the stupidity that lives up there, by trying to put it in calmness. It's a great outlet for high drive dogs. It does suit high drive dogs better, but you tend to come into conflict with the handler a little bit high drive dog, because the high drive dog wants to get there now, and the handler's like, no, we need to walk, and this dog's like, I don't walk anywhere. So yeah, and reactive dogs are welcome after assessment, and this can be used alongside a behaviour plan to increase success. When I say reactive dogs, these are dogs that are uncomfortable in their with people, with dogs, with the environment, because we're giving them something to do. If you're a bit stressed, if I give you a task to do and give you something to focus on, it tends to make you not worry about what's going on. What we do as a society now, we get our phone and we go, oh, it's a bit stressful, just going to TikTok, and this is a task, this is something to do that makes our dopamine high. It's fucking scrolling TikTok, and it makes our dopamine high, and we can then sorry, I just got notifications and my brain went, oh, dopamine notifications. So we're such simple creatures. Go away, it's my brother's birthday, so I was like, I need to ring you. So we can build that into dogs as well, alongside a behavior plan. But if your dog is human reactive, your dog is dog reactive, your dog has issues in the environment, you need to speak to your instructor before signing up, because we need to set stuff up for success. And sometimes there's a point where you might go, yes, you can come to sessions, but these sessions are in this location. You need to bring someone that dog is comfortable with, because there's no point. Dog's already stressed by the environment, trying to teach them that stress. Again, we get really high cortisol, we get extremely high dopamine, and then we get these little ups and downs. But your instructor will always communicate with you, but be honest with them. If your dog's people reactive, that's great. because Mantrailing can help with that, but we have to set those trails up for success, and trailers have to do it told. So I've got Karis. Is that correct?
Yeah.
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 I was in Ireland last week, and the names do not sound. So I've double checking everybody's names because the letters are all different there. Made a difference to my people reactive dog, and Briar's done the same. Albie's come confidence to strangers since started trailing. The great thing about it is that the person at the end does as they're told. They don't touch the dog. They don't invite attention that they don't need, and they just dispense food if that's what that dog likes. So it's great because then it's just that they get like this one thing, and the dogs start to go, oh, when we're in this context, that person isn't going to touch me. Not all people are evil. And then that leaks out into the real world alongside behavior plans where you can go, hey, you're a little bit stressed. Why don't we do some sniffing? Or why don't we introduce you to people like using Mantrailing stuff like track and trailing and using those stuff? We can use it as part of it because we taught the dog to have coping methods. The same as us, we can teach ourselves to have coping methods in stressful environments. Why do Mantrailing? It's the dopamine, guys. Come on, join us, join the chaos. We can have the high of our dogs. So that pictures me and Jin, my little Springer, and I just had the best trail ever with her. I was working with this really lovely operational lass, and I said, look, I don't want to be operational, but I want to know what you know because I need to know everything because my brain needs to know all of it now. And I had this most amazing track, and I just picked Jin up. We played tuggy at the end because she thinks she's a Malinois. We always fight. I picked her up and someone just snapped this of this pure joy in the moment where I went, I fucking love this. And this is amazing. And Jin's like, yeah. I mean, she doesn't look so happy in that picture. I just picked her off the floor. But I was just so excited that she did. Now, it wasn't the world's most like magical 600 meter, million miles long trail. It was in urban. She was so accurate. She got to the person at the end. She looked at them, and I don't let the person interact with my dogs because I have so many with bite histories. It's just easy to say no to everybody. And she looked at me and she's like, I found them. Give me my toy, bitch. Let's go. And we played, and it was so amazing that for weeks I was on the dopamine for this because my dog has success. Jin just followed her nose. Like, she knows what she's doing. She's a spaniel. And she couldn't quite understand why I was so excited. But we have get loads of success in Mantrailing, and especially if you've got a reactive dog or you've got a naughty dog or a dog that you want to throw in a bush most days. Mantrailing is a great outlet because you work together, you get highs, they get highs, and you see this beautiful relationship. And you don't go, my dog's a cock, I hate them, they're untrainable. You go, oh, I was asking my dog to do the wrong thing. I wasn't looking at its breed trait. I wasn't looking at my dog. I was just trying to apply this training to this dog that doesn't work for them. So instead, I've changed my mindset now. I know my dog can be successful. And then that success leaks into everything else. You go, my dog can do Mantrailing. So yeah, it can learn how to do recall and sit and have manners. But maybe I need to look at my dog more, and I need to change my mindset and what I'm doing with that dog. And I see these beautiful relationships blossom from Mantrailing because I went to give my dog something fun to do so they're tired and don't annoy me. And then it became Mantrailing allowed me to see my dog better, and it just changes stuff. It's one of the reasons why I'm like ridiculously addicted to it and so passionate about teaching Mantrailing. I'm really lucky I get to travel the fucking world teaching it. But working with teams that are going through the same dopamine that I'm going through, and I'm like, oh, we're having a win, they're having a win, everyone's. It's like dopamine's really infectious. If you see, it's like when babies laugh. Like, I know most people are dog people. When a puppy does something cute, we all go, oh. That's like, that's your oxytocin hormone, that's your bonding hormone, but your dopamine follows that, and your brain goes, oh, I like this, they're really cute. I think babies are cute, but most dog trainers don't think babies are cute, so they're not a good example. Kylie's like, no. I'll whiz through this bit quickly, but we touched on this. Mantrailing's building on your dog's behavior. You're learning, understanding your dog. You learn the quirks and novel changes, and you really start to look at your dog. And I do notice this in massive amounts. And you realize they're amazing. Dogs aren't stupid. We put them in situations where we create conflict or we create stupidity because we don't understand our dogs. So Mantrailing is like one of the most natural things that they can do because we're teaching them to find something constructively, and they have to problem solve along the way to get there. And the reward is kind of, you've got to work it out to get it, which really, really fulfills them. Breed behavior. All dogs can hunt. They're bred to do a job. If you provide them with an outlet that feeds their genetic behavior, you will see a massive reduction in reactivity. This is a little is a Shih Tzu. And he's amazing. And initially when he started another instructor, but I've seen him at a couple of workshops. When he first started, they were like, we'll do loads of easy trails because he's just a Shih Tzu. Like, he can't hunt and do anything. He's just a Shih Tzu. And his dog was like, I'm not doing it. Like, they kept looking at him, but they persevered. And it turned out if it thought it was too easy, he wouldn't go. So they just put a hard trail out. They were like, well, he's not going. Like, fuck it, just put a hard trail out. This dog smashed it. If he thinks you're babying him, he will not go. If you want to work him, this dog is a monster on it. He's got a really good little nose. He's not too squish faced, but you can't baby him. He's like, I'm a little hunter. How dare you suggest I can't do it? Don't look at my size. Look at the like size of lion in me. He's amazing. But it's so funny. We find somebody, he's like, feed me. And they're always like, oh God, it's a tiny, like they're expecting this big German Shepherd on the corner. And it's Safi the Shih Tzu. And it's such cool because the expectation is that dog couldn't do it because it is a Shih Tzu. But actually, regardless of whether it's a Shih Tzu or whether it's a German Shepherd, the genetics are in hunting. I say only the very squish-faced dogs, unfortunately, they could do it. Like some of the best dogs I have for trailing are bull breeds, but like bulldogs, if they can't breathe through the nose, that obligate breathing through the mouth, they can't actually take scent through their nose properly because that's where the process is going. So they have to stop breathing, and then you get like they can't. So they have to switch to decide between breathing or sniffing, which over a long period of time, over a 300-meter trail, can cause them to overheat or actually not take enough oxygen in. And I've seen dogs get a little bit, you see them like, I'm like, oh, they're getting dizzy. Like, this is not appropriate for your dog. So there are physical limitations to some dogs, but I've got 3-legged dogs that trail. They trail really well. Blind dogs, deaf dogs, dogs with, that are structurally a little bit odd, maybe a bit long, or they're fine. You just set it up to success for them. We don't go through the bushes for the blind dog. We stay on like open, wide areas, but the dog gets it. His sense of smell is way better than the other dogs now. So mantrailing isn't running around with your dog at top speed. No, I know you'll see videos of people doing it, but that's not what it's about. Or when you're working with me or you're working with people I work with, no running. It's not teaching your dog to find other animals or dogs. Doing mantrailing isn't going to teach your dog to find birds or increase their prey drive elsewhere. It'll probably decrease it. And this isn't teaching to find dogs. That is different. That is a different sport. It's pet trailing. That is completely different. And there's different setups for that because dogs don't walk down paths when they're lost. They disappear off into the ether. So it's different. It's not a quick fix to behavior issues. If your dog is human reactive and you're coming mantrailing, you need to be working on a behavior plan at the same time. You can't just rely on mantrailing to fix everything. It's not for antisocial people. We're our social bunch. I know some people are going, I'm massively antisocial. No, these are your people, guys. They're dog people. They just want to talk about dogs. Just come in, come closer to the group. We promise we're not going to invade your privacy, make you hug, and you will get to cuddle dogs. But you have to get involved in the fun. You have to be part of the party, and you have to be able to help. You're always geeing each other on, and you're always pushing each other to like the next level. It's great. And it's not just for high drive dogs, it's for all breeds. I'm well aware that I've just been talking at you guys 45 minutes, but there's a little bit of me talking, and then we'll do the Q&A, and then you don't have to listen to just me talking. I do apologise. So what's happening in New Zealand? Kylie and Amber are organising for me to come over, hopefully November, all going well, which means I'm going to be running some workshops for these guys and a foundational course aimed at kind of instructors, and then like a little geekery evening. So mantrailing workshops, I'm going to teach you as an individual. So I'm going to take what you guys already know or don't know, and I'm going to expand your knowledge. On full-day workshops with me or half-day or whatever the layout is, you get a lot of knowledge. I talk at people a lot because you need to know what's going on in my brain, and you need to know it too. And I need to tell you everything I understand about your dog. I do a lot of talking, but I do a lot of videoing. I video stuff. So you've got, like, Kathryn just talked at me for an hour. I don't know what's happening. So you've got progression, and I'm there to help you. I'm there to help your instructor understand you more. You only know what you know, and it's not saying that people don't understand stuff. It's just they haven't experienced things. I'm very lucky that my start off in the world was with really nasty dogs, was taking police rejects and sorting them out. And we were taking dogs that were like nailing handlers. So I'm really good at dog body language, and I'm really good at working with people, because security guys, you know what, they don't want to listen to women, so you have to work out ways of explaining stuff that makes them think that they understand, that they got it first. So I'm very good at doing that kind of stuff. I can't do my counts, I can't drive for shit, my car's full of dings. I think I'm raising my child okay, but I'm still a bit cautious that I was like, I need the trainer for me to train the child, which I'm finding quite difficult. And God forbid I went anywhere near like a building or something. God Lord, don't give me any Meccano. I don't know what I'm doing. So you looked at it as an individual. So I'm here to help you progress, reinforce your foundations, give your progression to your instructors as well, and set you up for like super success with your dog. That might mean changing something you're doing. It might mean enhancing something you're doing, might offering something new, or it might be going, that's absolutely perfect, and here's your next progression. So it's very much tailored to you guys. And we've got a couple of days of workshops. At the moment, those workshops are only available to Mantrailing New Zealand clients when they go live, and then but there will be a waiting list. I'll put at the end the socials for you to get in touch with Kylie and Amber to be like, I need to be on the waiting list. But SALS members get first dibs first. A Mantrailing Geekery evening. This is open to everybody. So one of the evenings when I'm over, we're going to talk about, like, I'm basically this, but much more expanded. So we're going to go into how the bacteria moves, how scent move, where it might be, how understanding dog behavior. I'm going to mash your brain for 2 hours. Like, you've got to come out of it feeling very drained, and going, I need to know more, or I can't do this anymore. Kathryn's made my head fall off, and you're going to sleep. I will probably be hepped up on coffee because I probably won't know what time zone it's on. So I'll either be like morning, or I don't know what I'll be, but I'll be on some sort of caffeinated drink. But yeah, and this is the real geek down. So this isn't just, oh, Mantrailing this is what we think the dogs are doing. It's taking that latest science. I spend a lot of my CPD hours and like that professional training on working on what's going on in the science. Now, that science isn't always related to like human scent. We're extrapolating from detection dogs, extrapolating from cadaver dogs. There's loads of science on how moths follow scent, interestingly. And actually a lot of the science going forward is on moths, because they follow scent really cool. Yeah, but we extrapolate it. So I take all that information, I put it into slightly more bite-sized situations, and we talk through it. So have lots of fun. Even if you don't do Mantrailing and you're just a scent geek, it's definitely worth coming, because it applies to, I'm going to talk about your human odor, but it applies to lots of other odors. But this is the thing everybody wants to know about. It's my Trailing Foundation course. So it's aimed at trainers looking to add another string to their business and complements other aspects, such as general training and behavior work or scent work or other sports. Or it's for people that are looking to start a dog business but don't really know what to start, want to do something cool and fun and that's kind of a bit more on their own level, and is specializing in like dog sports. It's a jam-packed 5 days. You've just heard me talk to you almost for an hour about this. Like, we're doing 9 to 5 of this for 5 days, guys. You will need as much caffeine as I will need. It's not just another Mantrailing course where I can go, hey, this is how you teach Mantrailing. Off you'll go, bye, 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 and leave you in the lurch. It is a 5-day jam-packed foundations on how to set dogs up for success, how to set up trail success, how to problem solve those problems, how to build in different aspects of training to build success, how to make this work for your business as well. Like, I've been really lucky that I've worked with a lot of instructors over the past 6 or 7 years in Mantrailing and worked with a lot of businesses. I'm a business coach myself, and we do lots and lots of, not just this is what we do, it's this is the foundation start, and here's all the 10 things that go wrong, and here's the 40 solutions that go with that. It's a lot. If anyone's been on my social media, you know that I talk about this a lot. It's like there's no one size fits all, and it really, really irks me that people still think that that's true in dog training, when all of you've got dogs and know that, one day to next you might be changing your training because of the situation. So yeah, it's designed set up for success and thrive. It is aimed at people looking to add it as a business. If you are a Mantrailing addict already and you just want to geek out, yes, all right, you might learn some stuff in this course, but actually this isn't going to help you as a magical handler to be better. I would say come to the geekery evening. This is about people looking to teach it a little bit. I didn't want to call it an instructor course because I feel like 5 days isn't going to make you the world's best instructor. I'm going to give you like fucking good foundations, but going forwards, you're learning. So you're an instructor on paper, but you're still building your skill. And I didn't want anyone to think that 5 days makes you're done. I'm sorry, you're not. You're always learning. So it's a foundation course, and it's about building stuff. Yeah, so is this the correct date? Because I put it on and I suddenly looked at it and thought I got insane.
Nice.
Yeah, so it'll be in Wellington. It'll be organised by Kylie and Amber. And after the course, you get 6 months of guided support through mentoring with me included. So afterwards, you get 6 sessions, one-to-ones with me over Zoom, where we go through stuff. You get a chance to just send me lots of stuff, your videos, bits and bobs, and you get support afterwards. So it's not a like, hey, to the course, bye. It is no, you get opportunity to have one-to-one time with me, and you get access to Mantrailing New Zealand community. Like there's going to be a cool community built out of this, where we can build success for not just Mantrailing New Zealand, but the whole of the instructors in Mantrailing New Zealand. So it's going to be really, really cool. Kylie bugged the shit out of me to organise this. I resisted for many weeks. She broke me down. So just so you know, join it. We've got Kylie kicking our asses in the background. So just so you're aware.
I'm a good cheerleader.
She is the cheerleader. She's a fucking peddler. So yeah. Yes, Kylie is the reason all this is happening, alongside shoving Amber into doing stuff as well. So,
we cut the ass first, and now Kathryn.
she's ass whooper. I like her. Any questions, guys? So we've got some questions submitted, but is there any questions that cropped up as I've been wittering at you for almost an hour? I might need a breather. This is what's going to be like any days you work with me. It's like it's a little bit full on, and then I crash and go to bed.
Can't wait.
I love it. Mantrailing's, I'm so passionate about it, and I love it because it's the dopamine in the community. It brings people together. Like I wouldn't be speaking to anyone from New Zealand if I hadn't been doing like mantrailing. Like it just wouldn't happen. And it's forever great. Pain in the arse. Kylie knows her brand. Super. So we got some questions.
Sorry, I got a question.
Go.
Hey, I'm from Perth in Western Australia, so we don't have mantrailing here, so that's why I wanted to learn a bit more about it. But I was wondering, because I have a really nervous dog who's nervous of people. He's not reactive, but he is like, if we were on a bushwalk or something and someone starts following us, he'd be really suspicious and he tries to get away from people in general. So I'm just wondering, like, how, I know you said that it works for reactive dogs, like how do you support like a nervous dog in that situation where they actually don't really want to be around another person? Can you bring your own people for the thing? Yeah. Is that and
that'd
do
be
you
the first
need
thing would be,
or
if you've got a dog that, you know, stranger danger or just finds people like really uncomfortable and doesn't want to, you know, to make friends with them, really, then yeah, bring people the dog knows, and you can work with your instructor to work on like a small group session, or even set up like potentially one-to-one with that person, so that a dog has a need to want to find them. So with Mantrailing, we do want the dog to like want to find stuff. What I've also done with some dogs is, instead of having a person at the end, is we put a large object. So we use like we leave a hoodie at the end. So dog kind of gets to the end, and then we jackpot them with food, and then over time we build in a person. But alongside that is we're building maybe like little circles of trust. So the dogs understand that when it comes Mantrailing, there's going to be people he knows, and there'll be like one new person this time, and then that happens for a few sessions, and there's 2 new people, and the dog goes, okay, so when I turn up in this car park on, you know, at 7 o'clock at night when it's dark, and there's a new person, it's okay because they're part of our little tribe. But we can set it up that that it's everything about the dog's comfort zone. So at any point that dog's going, hey, this is weird, I don't like it, we can stop, we can reset, we can readjust where that dog's at, and make sure that we're not just like running to the end so they get a reward and like reinforcing that worry for by accident. I had a really, really nervous American bulldog who came to me as a rescue with severe like a bite history, and he hated people. He was found in a drugs bust. Like he just did not want anyone near him. And I found, even as a behaviourist, really difficult to get him to build any relationships with people. And I needed him to like at least 2 people so I could leave the house. And Mantrailing initially wasn't the thing that I wanted to do with him, because I was like, no, Vinny's going to eat somebody, because if they try and touch him, and he was Merle, so he's really good looking, he's going to kill him. And actually, what was really good with Mantrailing is that when we got to the end, the person, he saw them and he was like, holy shit. we just all were calm. The person didn't do anything. The person didn't speak to him. They didn't force any interaction with him. He just stopped dead. He looked at me and I was like, we don't panic, we feed, we leave. And over a couple of repetitions, because it's nice, short, quick and easy, he started to go, oh, stranger in bush. So we didn't actually hide people in bushes here. We just put them in like on benches and obvious places. So they wouldn't pop out. And he started to go, oh, okay, well, we're man-trailing. Nobody's here to hurt me. And when he didn't like anybody, a lot of that like stress left his body. And it leaked into the real world with him, where he just went, oh, well, if I can see them, they're okay. I mean, if someone jumped out of him, he'd definitely lose marbles. But because it was led by him and he was working, it meant that when he came to the end, he didn't just go, well, there's a person. He went, do. Oh, I've been following your scent. I don't know if I like you, but you're not going to do anything, so I can live with that. And it's a predictability that person won't do anything. But yeah, I see dogs that just do like mantrailing like a track. So the person walks out, drops a big, large article, so we have an end, and they might walk back, or they might walk like round. So the dog's not going to actually meet anybody. Yeah, it's really adaptive, but you are always in charge as the owner. You can say like, look, can we have a discussion before we do anything? My dog works like this. What can we set up to do that? And then we work along it. We might suggest like, look, just trust me, it'll work, but we'll work with you to build success.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No worries. I'm just going to shut my door because my child's on the scale screen.
You?
So I do work in trials. How long is a track find a person? How is put together as a sport? What are awarding the teams for? So it's different to work in trials. There isn't like lots and lots of like different levels and different skills within the level. So you can work towards different levels, different organizations in Mantrailing. Some organizations write their own levels and like their own stuff. So I have like little awards for my clients. But there are some big organizations. The trail can be anything from 100 meters to 600, maybe more. It varies on the trail and the complexity of that trail. Start off with baby ones like 100 meters and then it builds up. Comparing it to working trials, so it's not as kind of like specific. So I know it's not that I do work in trials here in the UK, but I know that dogs have got to be a bit more like nose down, very accurate, very, on the track of where that person is. Whereas man-trailing is like they can be in the vicinity of it. They don't have to be bang on. They can use multiple ways of working. What I do say to people is if you do like working trials, IPG, IPO, or whatever letters it is now, or like you do tracking as a sport, you'll have a really good man-trailing dog, but your dog needs to understand the context very clearly. Otherwise, your tracking dog will start to use other methods in order to get to the end of the track or the articles on the track. They'll start to air scent and things. So if you're really big on I want to do really well in working trials, don't necessarily come man-trailing while you're still learning the skill, because the dog will work in a way that works for it. If you want more nose down, not teach you to put its heads up. As a sport, it's really aimed at about the dog's success. So yeah, it's not like there's loads of competitions and leagues at the moment. It's still a baby sport. It's only really existed as a sport in the UK and for about 7 years. In Europe, it's been around a little bit longer, but it's really more based on like operational stuff. So there isn't like a league or anything. It's still building up. So it's quite new baby with stuff like that. But a lot of it's about working towards your own personal goals as opposed to certificates, which means it doesn't suit everybody. It's not a super competitive sport compared to like scent work and stuff where you can be quite competitive. The problem with it is all dog work to their beat of their own drum, and if you measure distance, so my dog needs to get to the end by X time or an X amount of time, you end up rushing. And dogs that are really methodical take longer. Dogs that are less methodical and crash for the bushes but cut half the trail out would technically be better. I just find it difficult. We have tried competitions over here, but they haven't really taken off. But it's a different world in New Zealand and Australia. So maybe that's something that Mantrailing New Zealand need to look into. Certificates. But yeah. Super. Any more questions from this set? We've got a few on our list. Super. So, girls, do you want to read out one of the questions, or I think you've got some? Or I've got them here.
I haven't got my. Hold on, I'll keep my phone open. About being prepared. Well, I've got one of them with, well, it's a bit like the tracking one. Oh, you've already gone into the IPO and scent work. Will it ruin your dog's obedience?
Yeah, so like will mantrailing ruin other sports?
No, obedience as in,
Obedience.
you know, with the whole pulling, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
Like, so
when I go out for a walk, well, is my dog going to pull me down the road? And, you know, that sort of obedience, general obedience.
I think as long as you continue to put training into your obedience, it doesn't make a lot of difference. So we've talked obviously through this that other aspects, like positive aspects, will leak out into you know, dog will become maybe less stranger danger. The dog will work through different things. But and yes, if you don't continue obedience training, you can lose a little bit of like loosely walking stuff. But we put in the context that when this dog is in a mantrailing harness, and we have a specific mantrailing harness for mantrailing, that you can pull in this harness. We encourage the pulling here. We encourage the movement forwards ahead of me, like that context. But that's in context of mantrailing. Outside of mantrailing, I still expect you to do the things that I've been asking you to do from the day you arrived.
Is that the same as like, it's like starting rituals, isn't it? When you, like, even with scent sport, you have starting rituals, and you have, you know, I'm guessing, I don't do agility, but I'm sure you've got starting ritual for your dog, so your dog knows that this is what's expected of you now. And so essentially what I get from it myself, I guess, is that the boys know that they can pull when I pull those harnesses out. I put them on, I put the long line on, I hold it, and as soon as I let it go, they know they can pull. Whereas on a walk, they know that they have to be beside me if I say they have to be beside me. But I think that's what the question was aimed at, was, am I going to lose all that whole loose leash walking and that?
No, I don't. I've rarely seen it affect. The only time they pull is when they're pulling to start mantrailing, and then they don't have a lot of obedience then. But the rest of the time, they're fine. And like you say, they know they're in harness. They know they're at mantrailing, and even if you don't, you know, when you arrive at agility, the dogs know their agility or obedience. So yeah, they don't lose that. You just have to keep maintaining it and not get lazy. So Lynn's put, my dog does rally obedience scent work and mantrailing. Yep. And I should imagine it doesn't necessarily affect each other. My dog don't pull more in daily life. They understand the difference between pulling harness and a normal collar harness. Yeah. Mantrailing has like a ritual to it, but the dogs know where they are, and they see, like Kylie and Amber, the dogs see me, they're like, mantrailing. And they know the difference. And what you start doing at the beginning maintains in mantrailing. So if you keep your obedience there where they walk up to the start and then you change the harness, they know once the harness and lines on is now it's pull time. They understand the difference.
Okay.
I think my whole neighborhood here is excited when my dog's harness goes on. Yep. Oh dear. So Kat's put, my two know the harness means it's on. It's difference. Yeah, I think it's not many dogs that I've seen like get silly and start pulling, and that's usually it's a handler laziness more than anything. It's not the dog. It's that you haven't maintained the context outside as well. So when obedience. One thing we did cross over, but it's a question that's come up, is will mantrailing make my dog want to hunt more? No, I think I've seen the opposite more, really, that the dogs want to hunt less. I don't know if you guys, because what have you seen?
Yeah, I definitely, Murray used to especially be really bad with pukikos, and it didn't matter what I did with him, I couldn't get him to stop chasing pukikos and ducks. And now I can just say leave it, and he just leaves it because he's got another outlet for that. That's the only thing I've changed. The only thing I've done differently is through mantrailing. So That's my experience anyway.
Is there time on the trail, or is it straight away a dog trails the person? Explain a bit more, Wendy. You mean time as in like time to finish the trail, or?
And I think what she's asking is that we start with you basically go straight away, but then as your dog gets better and you get better, then it builds up to aged trails. So we age the trail for whatever amount of minutes, hour that your dog's capable of doing, and then progress from there, goes up. I hope that's answering the question anyway.
Yeah.
That's how I read it.
Bloody ducks. Yeah. So blah, blah, blah. I've got two questions going on here now. My head's fallen off. Yeah, I think so. Kai's answered Wendy's question that hopefully, but Wendy asked more questions if it's not clear. Yes, in Mantrailing as well, the dog straight away trails the person. It's not like tracking that we add a person at the end. Generally, we add the person from the beginning because it's finding. Mantrailing is about finding a person. Tracking and trailing. So trailing is Mantrailing without the person, which is like kind of the middle between tracking and Mantrailing. So there isn't always a person at the end. Like say I've just said to Naomi, who asked the question, that we can with nervous dog put an article, but we're aiming to put people at the end quite quickly in Mantrailing. And then tracking is about following exactly where that person has been. So they all overlap really massively. Sadie would go miles, rabbits, hares, birds, bloody ducks. Yeah, well, ducks have a death wish. They're pain in the bum. I don't know if you guys hear, because we have public parks with ducks and people feed them. As soon as they see a person, they're like, people! And the dogs are like, yes, come closer. Every time. So, yeah. Other resources out there for training, we'll make a workshop. We'll talk about that in a minute. There's not a lot of resources online because it's such a practical sport, unfortunately. But there are places to get information, which I'll link to at the end. That's a good question. My spaniel cross-border collie, oh, have fun, has a history of going off hunting on his own. So I'd like to see if Mantrailing does it. Yeah, Mantrailing, hopefully, not saying 100% does, but hopefully will reduce your dog's need to hunt other stuff because you're teaching it to hunt a person in the bush. Constructive hunting. A harness is compulsory. I have a dog that closed down wearing a harness that maybe would change once working. I know there's a reward. It's a difficult one. So yes, I have two dogs that don't trail on a harness. They are both teeny tiny dachshunds and they don't pull. So I allow them to be on a very wide collar and they don't pull. They just toddle along because actually we can't get a harness to fit them and they find it very uncomfortable. It's not something I let happen too often because these dogs can move with quite a bit of force and they can yank around a little bit. There's always that worry that if that dog yanks forwards, that we're going to put too much pressure on that neck at speed at the end of a 10-meter line. It doesn't happen very often, but there is always a case that there could be some sort of injury to the dog. It's case by case basis based on your instructor and your preferences. What we've done with harnesses is trying to find a type of harness that fits them correctly. A lot of, depending on if your dog's obviously had an issue with harnesses, but often it's the fitting. So trying to pick a harness that maybe they haven't worn before or a harness that fits. But what we can do is make it fun. We can change that dog's mindset to the harness. I have a couple of dogs that come to me that didn't like harnesses, but they will wear them. They won't wear them everywhere else, but they will wear them for Mantrailing because they're big, strong dogs, and I'm not having their owners killed by pulling them around. So it kind of depends on the size of the dog and the tenacity of said dog, because we don't need things going at speed.
Kathryn, I was just going to ask along that train of thought. Are the dogs pulling because they're excited, like, and they want to follow the scent? Like, because do they always pull, or is it just like if they're super into it, they'll probably pull more, or are some of them just like following the trail slowly?
So some dogs go like the clappers, and we work on them slowing down, that we don't need to rush to the end. Other dogs will take it nice and steady and will be naturally more methodical. We try and build that calmness and the methodical nothing quite early on, but some of the dogs just, they want to go fast, they want to hunt fast. So we do have to convince them along the way that we can hunt calmer. The first couple of sessions can be a little bit more like whoo, as the dogs, we're reinforcing the game, and then we're honing down playing the game in a bit more of a sensible way. it's like when you teach anything, it can all look a bit messy, and then you hone it down.
Mm.
I like the dogs to be calmer. I got, obviously, very high drive dogs, very high drive spaniels, and when I first started, it was all like chaos, run, pull, drag, and actually, you know, it damaged my dog. So now it's about building that success without too much chaos. But yeah, it's there to start off with most of the dogs, and then it calms down. But we try and work to each dog's needs. So say we've got a dog that's got like an injury, so it's got like a disability in some way, so maybe it's had a spinal injury, they can still trail. We just have to be very sensible. Or if that dog is going to come out like a bat out of hell, then we actually say that maybe mantrailing isn't the right thing for it, for its own safety, and maybe for the handler safety as well sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we teach them to calm pretty quick, if possible.
Cool. Thank you.
Jane, a few questions. Would there be lessons, workshop rules to help set up your business if we do the foundation course? Also, how does this compare to trail hunt that I've seen advertised? How easy for people to practice to wearing dogs at home? Yeah, so if you do the foundation course with me, there'll be help to set up the business. I can't make people come to you, but I can give you the resources to get stuff set up. And there's going to be a nice community of Mantrailing New Zealand instructors to help build success for you guys over there if this course runs. Trail hunt is teaching dogs to find an odor, so it's just a single odor, so it's not as complex as mantrailing. I've not had any dealings with it, so I'm not going to make a big comment on it. I know that some people start it off lead. I know some people start it on lead. It's the dog really working at their own pace, so it's quite fast paced from what I've seen. But again, I've never done it. I've never seen it. I've never worked with any instructors. I don't like the instructors that do it. We don't overlap too much. But it's following a single odor on the ground that's going to a pod. There's no people at the end, so it's quite good for those dogs that don't like people, from what I've heard. I think there's online courses in that, but it's not my remit at all. Mantrailing, yeah. Really, to do mantrailing, you need people to practice with. But actually, I advise people don't practice mantrailing at home too much, because what ends up happening is you end up doing really stupid things for dopamine, and you kind of need someone behind you to help you build success. Within Mantrailing, we build tracking skills as well in some of the teaching I do. So you can do a bit of tracking stuff at home to help have fun with the dog and teach them to follow scent. To teach them to follow scent. But Mantrailing is kind of like a group sport. So yeah, it's a bit harder to practice at home. But what you find is that you don't need to do lots in order to be successful in mantrailing. You just need to do quality trails. So working with instructor and setting up for success is massive. But there's lots of stuff we can send you with, like little bits of homework that build up the skill. But yeah, you do need an idiot in a bush, ideally, for mantrailing. Then I've been doing mantrailing for 4 months, but I don't have a trainer. There's a group of 6 of us that are training. I don't want to do a business, so they're just a trainer's course. When I'm coming over, I'm not just providing like just a skills course. I mean, you're more than welcome to do the course after, if you pop your application in and you're accepted. And you don't need to necessarily do it as a business, but business skills are included in this course. The reason that we included business skills in the foundation course was because it's all right giving me the tools. For most people would invest in it to run it as a business afterwards. So if you don't know how to advertise it, you don't know how to explain to people, you don't know how to get your clients in, you don't want to waste your time and energy on a course that you can't sell to people, because it's so new for you guys in New Zealand. I mean, Kylie and Amber, how have you, explaining to people that we're going to hide somebody in a bush with some cheese? It's like, it's a bit different, isn't it?
I mean, hide and, if you describe it as hide and seek.
Hide and seek, basically, is how we describe it mostly. And it's generally, it started off, obviously, just with me, Amber, and my friend Kim. And then it was sort of, once we understood what it was about, then that's how we explained it to people, exactly what we did and how we did it. And yeah.
I think people, a bit, like how you've described it tonight, that it's looking for a specific person, and you need the trail layer and stuff. But people kind of do pick it up quite quickly, and
yeah, once you got the word out there, it's good. But one of the things that I wanted to if I'm teaching with instructors, is that I want to give them as much success as possible. So it's all right, I give you the tools for teaching it and problem solving it and building success, but I also want to give your business success as well. Basically, so everybody wins. It's a good one. Thanks, Rachel. I'll see you in November, hopefully. Wendy's put, do you need clean ground in Mantrailing or a busy park? You can do it anywhere, as long as it's safe to do it there and that you're not trespassing. You don't necessarily need clean ground, no. And we tend to run trails over each other, so the dogs are working fresh and aged. And that's one thing I didn't actually say in that. The dogs are following a specific person's scent, but they're following the freshest version of that person's scent. So if you've got multiple trails out, it doesn't matter. The dog should be learning to follow the freshest version, which is what we teach them to follow, which we reinforce. So you might have someone's gone right an hour ago and then they've gone left. This time it's probably opposite on screen. And the dog will take scent and should then take that the freshest path to get to the end. So that's what they're working on, and we don't let them follow. If there's an age trail out and that's the only age trail out, then they will follow that one. So they can follow fresh versus old, and we teach them to follow that fresh version of the freshest is there. But you can age trails, you put one trail out and that person sits out for an hour, the dog will also follow that age trail. Air sending is quite a part of it as well. Yeah. So the dogs are using methods, multiple ways of following scent in order to gain success, because it's about how that dog works as maybe as a breed, as an individual, and about getting success. So they don't just use ground scent and like you would expect maybe in tracking. They use air scent, blown scent, settled scent, ground disturbance. They're using multiple ways to get there. And as a handler, you're leading them into working in a way that works for you guys, and also build success for the dog. It's always windy in Wellington, so they're gonna use some ground scent and some blown scent. But what we're not doing is letting them go like 400 meters off on a wisp of scent. We're keeping them within the parameters of where that scent is most likely to have settled or the most likely to be. We tend to bring them back to the trail and encourage them to use mainly ground scent. And that's kind of the way I train a lot, is like, we're going to encourage the use of ground scent and stuff like that. But you know, so Carrie just said, you see the different ways they scent when they different surfaces. So if you're working through grass or a soft surface, you tend to get nose down. When you hit urban, you're going to get head up, because the scent isn't going to stick directly to the ground as well. It's going to move on buildings and stuff. So you get a variation of scent. But it's about the dog working in a way that works for them a little bit alongside us. Briar's put, I think the types of areas you can use Mantrailing, what makes it so accessible. So many places in New Zealand you can use. So I use middle of towns, I use forests, we use parks, we use the beach. We go in shopping centres over here because a lot of them are dog friendly, go up and down the lifts. Like, we have a whale of a time. So as long as you're not causing trouble to anybody and the dogs are there that can cope with those environments, obviously you've got like a human reactive dog, you're not going to take them to the middle of a shopping centre, probably going to be hell for them, but a forest would be ideal. So we can work in any environment. It's quite accessible. We don't need 40 fields of fresh grass, like you might need if you were doing, say, like the foundations of tracking. Mantrailing, we work on contamination immediately. We just get on with it. It doesn't matter. The dogs learn to differentiate like that. They're so quick. So someone had asked with the 5-day course with me, do they need a dog to do the course? Need to bring their dog? Because people maybe think about traveling. No, you don't. Kylie and Amber have several dogs you can borrow. They're very nice, smushy boxes.
4 dogs for us
and other friends.
Yeah, so we've got dogs you can borrow because
there's a variety you can pick.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool as a handler and instructor to use different dogs. I love handling different dogs because it means that you get to feel like your client and a little bit out of place and like, oh no, I don't know what to do. So it's really good fun. So if you are traveling from a distance,
Want another reason to get another dog?
Yeah. Oh, another dog. So yeah, it's the course is about learning, but a lot of it's like you-led training. Like, so the dogs aren't going to be doing 50 trails a day. They're going to be doing 3 or 4 because we're going to be training and teaching and going through stuff. There's a lot going on, so it's not dog-led. It's not dogs it's not dog focused, the foundation course. It is you focused, human focused. So if you are traveling, you think you don't want to travel your dog across the country or like, and things like that, and I have to deal with whatever the weather is in New Zealand at that point, then you're right. Really panic. Then you don't need a dog for the course.
Yeah, so we've got ones you can borrow, and a good variety of different temperaments and
different breeds.
Any more questions on the list? I think we covered most of them actually while I was wittering.
I was kind of looking at the list of questions, but you covered it in most of them.
The ones that we had come through.
Yeah, so the only thing I think I covered is what's the difference between me and other organisations that teach mantrailing. I'm not going to certificate you and say that you've passed a magical course and here's your certificate, off you go, push you through the door. You're not a number to me, you're a person. I'm really invested in people having success. I'm very lucky. When I started my career in dog training, somebody invested in me, and I wouldn't be where I was without him. If Rich hadn't spent time training me as an individual and helping me qualify and helping me learn, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And I was never a number to him. And I don't want anyone working with me to become a number. It's why I don't like calling it an instructor course, because it's not an instructor course. It's a foundation to success, and it's going to be building on it. It's going to be, whether you got more information from me or somebody else, you're going to still be learning. And it's going to be pushing forwards. So the other courses you can do online, you can go through all the videos and you can get your certificate, and then you can go and you can teach, and you'll learn as you go along, and you'll make lots of mistakes, and that's fine. There's other courses that will put you through the 5 days. You'll learn how to do the basics, and then there's no follow on. There are lots of organizations out there, and look at them, look at them. If what I'm talking about interests you, but I'm not the person for you, then that's fine. I'm not going to force somebody to spend time and energy with me, but I genuinely want success from people, and my premise is, if we have successful dogs, we need successful handlers, and we need successful instructors. It's a pyramid. So in order to get the best out of the dogs, we need to start with good foundations. And if you as instructors or you as people wanting to teach this to dogs have piss poor foundations because you don't have the information, then it's really hard to build a really solid pyramid. And I think over in New Zealand at the moment, you guys are so keen, to learn more, because it's such a good sport, that I want to come over and impart as much information possible. And I use from multiple methods. So I've been lucky enough to work with multiple organizations. I've been lucky enough, I have multiple dogs to practice with. I work with a lot of teams across the UK, Europe, and Canada and things like that. So I've been lucky enough to work with so many different solutions that I want to impart that onto you guys, whether you come to me as a handler working your dog, whether you come to me as an instructor, that I'm here to give you as many options as possible, because I think success comes through not sticking it to one method. Within reason, you don't change your method every session. You don't go, oh, we're going to do this today. But within going, well, this dog needs this, and I'm going to work on this for a little while, and that dog needs that, and I'm going to work on that for a little while. And so, so that's why I think that's what makes me different to some organizations where they're like, you must do this, and that's the way it works. I'm not going to speak to them. Inquire with them, speak to them about what they want to do, but I'm not going to speak for them. But I am going to say that's what I'm like.
I think also, you've touched on it before, one of the valuable things you're offering to the people who want to come and do the foundations course is that you're giving them 6 months of one-on-one mentorship afterwards, which I have found really helpful from you.
Yeah.
It's one thing kind of doing the course, but once you start actually teaching clients is when you're going to have questions you never thought of in the course. So people coming and doing the course, it's really super helpful having Kathryn, in a WhatsApp group and sending her different questions, and then having that, monthly Zoom.
Yeah, or sending multiple videos through.
Going, oh, what do you think of this one?
Sometimes it's just nice to know that you're on the right track, or yeah.
So that's a really valuable thing that Kathryn's offered on
discussing what your problem solving
stuff is, having you there as a backup to problem solve.
I mean, the 6 months is included. You can have me as long as you want
Yeah.
afterwards. You can pay for the service, but it's there so that I've done lots of courses. I've got lots of certificates, and it was 5 days and off you go. 5 days and off you go, and there's no follow on. And I was really lucky to have a really good mentor who helped me through that stuff. Like, he's passed away now and I don't have that. And it's difficult. Whereas I want to offer that to other people and be like, yep, I do have an answer. Or go, I don't actually have the answer to that. Give me a week. Let me speak to somebody else. I'll come back to you. It's nice to have someone on your shoulders that you can just pop a message to. And even after 6 months, if you've got a question, just bob it over. I'll always answer questions. And the same from handlers. Handlers will sometimes message me and go, just a quick one. And I'll always answer it. The mentoring is that you have more access to me. You have more personalized access to me, which is awesome. Oh, guys, I think we're all losing the will to live. So if you're interested in mantrailing in New Zealand, you need to get in touch with Mantrailing New Zealand. Get them on the socials. Facebook and Instagram is probably where you're going to answer the quickest. I need to put the application form in here. So as we said,
you can find you can find the link to the job form application on Instagram and Facebook. It should just be in the bio on Instagram.
Yeah. So what we'll do as well straight after this live is we're just going to
I'm not the best tech person.
Go and spam the
social
social
make it clearer.
So jump straight on Mantrailing New Zealand, Trailing K9s, Instagram or Facebook. The application link will be there, but it's in the bio of Mantrailing New Zealand anyway. When the recording this goes up, it will be in the recording as well. It will be there, so you can link to application. We have extended the application deadline to the end of May, so you have opportunity to get it in. The reason we're doing applications is so we basically that you're happy with us and we're happy with you, and that the course is suitable for what you want. I don't want someone to pay a lot of money and then we go, I didn't like it. One, because I thrive on happiness, and two, I want people to have good fun. So one of the reasons to do this is so that you understand what we're offering there in November. If you have any further questions about anything, then hit both of us up. Anything to do with New Zealand, then hit Mantrailing New Zealand, because I don't know anything about New Zealand. I'm going to be doing my little market research before I come over to you guys and know a bit more about the dog training industry. But yeah, but if you've got any specific man training questions, you can always hit me up on Trailing K9s. I'm pretty responsive, and have a bit of fun. If you do want to geek out on man trailing, I do run an online course, an online Patreon. So it's a monthly membership to Patreon, and it's the geeky spot. It's where I go and put all the information about dog training. It's where I go and put all the information about man trailing, all the resources I've got. There's monthly webinars that are pre-recorded. I do quarterly Q&As. Anyone can join in. There's video analysis, bonus content. We've got industry experts. We've got some scientists coming in the next couple of months to talk about bacteria. And the Patreon is there to access. It's 50% off for the first month if you use the code Mantrailing New Zealand. It's £10 a month in British pounds. I have no idea what the exchange rate is for New Zealand because it keeps fluctuating. But you'll get
about £2 at the moment.
Yeah, no. 3.
Is it changed again?
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's about $3 a month.
Yeah. So you'll get 50% off the first month if you use the code Mantrailing New Zealand.
Definitely worth having a look.
You can jump in, use it for a month, learn some stuff, hop out. I'm not going to be offended if you do that. Lots of people do, and they bob in and out when they want to. But otherwise, keep it monthly. You get access to more stuff. And obviously, once I've been to New Zealand, there'll be more New Zealand-based content in there, which would be great. But it isn't a starter's guide. So I caveat to people, it's not a starter's guide to man trailing. I haven't written that, and I'm a little bit loath to write something like that online because it can be so interpretive. And what I don't want to do is people get hurt with their dogs or fuck them over. There are other people that do it, and that's up to them. But for me, I just like to be involved, I think, is the problem. I just can't let go of the control. But you have until the 30th of June to use that code. So if you want to have a little nosy round, you can join as a free member. You can always have a little nosy, or just have a nosy at me on socials. That's what I'm there for. But yeah, it's a little geeky spot. There's the Patreon. It'll pop it up on my socials. This evening for you guys, for this morning for me, and go from there. again, ask questions, all of us. That's what we're here for. I know I mainly talked for the last hour and a half, but Kylie and Amber are super knowledgeable, and they know their shit, because I wouldn't be working with them if they didn't. So
I can't come across as that tonight, but
Sherry now.
We're not good in front of the camera. I'm one behind the camera.
In person, you're fine. There's a dog. It's fine. Use a dog as a social barrier. But yeah. But thank you very much for jumping on live, guys. Really appreciate you.
Really appreciate everyone coming on
time for this, and hopefully, all going well, I'll see a lot of you in New Zealand in November for my damn big adventure. If not,
so excited. Can't wait.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.